No. First of all, I want to thank you, Cobb EMC, for inviting us for, I think it's our third year now in doing this. We are one of their authorized solar installers, but there are other folks in the room here, such as Jerry and back with sun catchers. And if you go to the website, you'll find that there's other solar companies alongside with us. So it's not that we're trying to monopolize on the whole situation. We're a very neutral organization. But Cobb EMC is probably one of the most advanced or forward-thinking utility companies in the state because they have up to 154 megawatts of solar in their portfolio. So to give you an idea of how much solar that is, that's 700 acres of solar panels that they have that provides clean renewable energy for you people here in this room, and I think 197,000 customers?
Just over 180,000.
180,000. So that's pretty outstanding. So a little bit about what we're going to do, a little bit about our company, and then we'll go into some of the nitty-gritty stuff that I think some of the folks in this room want to dig into. And I'm going to ask a couple questions so I know what direction we're going to take here. So we are based out of Kennesaw, right down in downtown Kennesaw. We've been in business since 2008. We are a what you would call a turnkey solar developer, which means we do from start to finish, from the consultation, the design, the pricing, the interconnection with Cobb EMC, and give you directions and permitting processes as well. We do a balanced number of installations from residential to commercial, small commercial to utility scale. We have we work and train all of our installers. It's not just hire somebody, stick them on a roof. There's a lot of safety required, but there's also a lot of care that's required to take care and make sure that the roof that you have on your house lasts as long as it was intended to before the solar panels got put on. And we start our training at a very young age. We use what is called SEP Certified, National Board of Certified Electrical Practitioners. It's a very rigorous process. It takes about a year to a year and a half to even acquire. The test has about a 42% passing average, so it's almost like a CPA. It's not fun. It's very rigorous. There's a couple of examples of residential, some of the commercial installations we've done here locally. We do a variety of installations from ground mounts to roof mounts to canopies. Has anybody ever heard of Georgia Solar Energy Association? Yep, one guy in the back. Okay. They should be a good resource for you. Georgia Solar Energy Association is a nonprofit organization. Their model is to educate, advocate, and also update with policy, keep their eyes on the Capitol, to keep consumers such as yourself informed. I'm the vice chair. I've been the vice chair for about 2 years. Been with the board for about 6 years. It's the only way you can really keep an idea and a pulse of what's going on so you can inform your clients of what's going on in the future as well. So I'm going to take a couple of questions. I'm going to ask a couple of questions actually so I can get an idea here, okay? So how many people here, just to raise their hands, is this the first time you ever considered looking at solar? Okay, good number, fair number. Don't be afraid to raise your hand. There's other people in the room too, okay? How many people in this room have solar on their house? 1, 2. Okay. All right. It's a lot of people here seem a little overwhelming, not sure exactly how it works, what's the process like? Is it really complicated, or, there's a lot more you want to know about it? That's what we're going to try to cover here for you. Okay? The goal more than anything out of this session is that you walk out here with more information that you came in with, because that'll definitely help you in your decision processing, but also you'll find out whether or not it is for you or not. So, what is solar energy? Can anybody tell me? Not you, Mike. Anybody? Yeah.
Yeah, it's energy from just the sun's radiation.
Okay. It's from the light. It's not from the heat that the sun makes, it's from the light. Okay? So a real good example here is if you look at this, the sun hits the solar panels, which is, there's one right here. This is a real functional. That's from the solar panel. I guess there's radiation coming from it. All right, so I'll stay away from there. Light hits the solar panel, all right? So that's DC energy. DC energy has to go through what is called an inverter, which converts it to AC energy, which is what your house uses from the grid. Your house is going to absorb that solar energy before it absorbs the energy coming in from the grid, so therefore you'll use as much as it can generate. And then whatever your house is demanding, if there isn't enough solar, then it will take from Cobb EMC, the grid, okay? And some people are going to probably have some questions, well, what about energy storage and emergency backup? That's becoming more and more of a question. We'll get into that a little bit later on, okay? So there's two key components to having solar energy on your home. One is the solar panel, the other one is the inverter. Not a converter, but an inverter. And the inverters have gone from being that big, or about this size, to about this big. So pretty much on a residential installation, you'll see one of these mounted under every solar panel. It converts your energy into AC energy right there. It doesn't have to wait for it to come down to the side of the house. So there's a big plus in that. Also is that allows you to monitor a panel on an individual basis so you can monitor. It makes harvesting your energy more efficient, more effective. And how many people have trees in their yard here? Okay, shading. This helps offset shading. So if one panel is shaded, it doesn't affect the whole system. It affects one panel. So it's a lot more cost effective nowadays than it was, say, 6-7 years ago. All right. So this is an example of a roof mount. So you'll see that there are mounts here, and that's what this is, and the panels are clipped onto these. These mounts are mounted into your roof. They have a very strong adhesive, but they also screw into the roof of your home. Your microinverters are placed in a trunk cable, and then your panels are laid on top. And it's pretty much a plug and play from that point on. So there are additional optional components that some people will consider with solar energy. One is energy storage, and we have an example of one sitting out in the hallway. So when you walk out, you'll see it's just a real nice, clean looking box. And then some people want a generator if there's an issue with the grid. Yes, sir?
With the microinverter going to 110 on the roof, will you go to your battery from there?
Yes.
So your battery's going to go 110, or you got something in the middle to get it back to DC?
Right. It's there's a charge controller. It's called an AC coupled system, and that's what it's done. Otherwise, you'd be running nothing but DC off the roof to charging your batteries before it goes in the house. So he has a very good point. There's an AC coupled system and DC coupled system. Didn't want to get too deep into that until towards the end if somebody had some more questions. So, how do you know if your house is good for solar? Yes, sir.
Well, a quick question about storage.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a naive question. Why would you want to store the power?
Can I answer that in about 15 minutes?
Okay.
Because I'm going to cover that, and if I don't, raise your hand and point me out again.
All right.
Fair enough? Okay. Yes, sir.
Is the direct conversion to 120 for the purpose of reducing attenuation?
In what fashion? You mean?
Well, if it's DC, it's going to attenuate the real resistance versus
It-
magnetic losses.
The benefit, it goes right into your distribution panel, which is typically a 240, and most of your breakers are a 110. And so as far as the design, I may not be answering your question
Yeah, I'm just
correctly.
wondering, a lot of times, AC doesn't carry the same attenuation problem in terms of power transition. So I didn't know if the reason, if there was an additional benefit in reducing attenuation to the plug.
It primarily has to do with the voltage for safety,
I got you.
because 110 is a lot not as invasive or dangerous as 240 voltage, but also we're dealing with, we're dealing with AC up top here. But the systems won't come on while these guys are plugging it in until they sense the grid when it's also connected as well, okay? So, number one, go to Google Earth. Look at your house. You can also move the direction on Google Earth through the day to see if you have any shading and what type of shading you may have, okay? Take in shade considerations, but not also is direct south beneficial. East and west is a nice offset as well. And you'll see in some of these images that you see through the PowerPoint, these are all images of installs we've done. So you're going to see some that are on 4 or 5 different roof areas, okay? And believe it or not, they work. They're very good, very, very good systems. Okay, so how long will a system last? Systems, we haven't been in business long enough to tell you, for a matter of fact, how long they will last. I've seen systems out there that are over 30 years old and still functioning. All I can tell you is what we know, and we don't, we try to know as much as we can. We're not experts. I think when somebody says they're an expert, you need to run. Hopefully I won't get feedback. So your solar panels that you're seeing over here are covered by a manufacturer's warranty for 25 years from the manufacturer, not from the installer, from the manufacturer, for performance. Your microinverters or your inverters will have a warranty by the manufacturer for 10 and some for up to 25 years from the manufacturer. What helps keep them in check is when you have a monitoring system where you can see it on a daily basis on your phone of what the system's doing. And if you start seeing some abnormalities, you call your installer, see what they can do, or you call the manufacturer and they'll look at it online and they can do a diagnosis on it.
Quick question, Fred.
Yeah.
How much has the efficiency of the panel itself or the system as a whole improved in the last 15 to 20 years?
Oh, tremendous.
In other words, the warranty is 25 years, but is it going to be obsolete in 10?
I don't think it's necessary that it's going to be obsolete in 10. You're seeing efficiency improved by about 1/4 to 0.5% a year on the panels that are actually in the market of what we can afford versus what the market is and what NASA could afford. Okay? You're seeing about, over a 10-year period, maybe about a 30% improvement on efficiency of it. One of the other things, if you consider doing this, make sure you have a master certified electrician and he goes through the processes in getting a permit. It's very important because when it comes to interconnecting with Cobb EMC, they're going to want to see that it has passed inspection. They're going to want to see a copy of the certificate and make sure the master electrician, but also make sure the electrician that you're dealing with has worked with solar energy in the past. It is not exactly a straight cut and dry. We've gotten many phone calls after the fact and said, I need some help here. What's the matter? This manual is telling me that I've got to go through such and such, and we send another electrician out there, and it's just a matter of an understanding. It's almost like learning, if you're used to English, learning Spanish, etc. It's not a real, yes?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I was going to ask about replacing, well, we have to have our roofs replaced maybe every 10 or 12 years or more or less. And I'm sure it's pretty expensive to have it uninstalled and then reinstalled.
Right.
I'm just wondering about, and leaks too.
Correct.
I'm wondering about the little nails and screws. 'Cause
Right.
that could be really bad.
So did everybody hear her question? Okay, her question is, what about a roof? Typically, some people get the roofs replaced every 15 to 20 years, and if these last that long, what do? And what about the nails or the screws that go in the roof? There's 2 things. Number one, you want to have your roof looked at before you have solar put on. Okay, if your roof is 15 years old, look at it and look at it real hard. Okay, look at considering the investment. One of our guys or a solar installer, they should have some knowledge, and usually they have a relationship with a roofer and get a couple of opinions from roofers on looking at having your roof replaced. That's always a good piece of good advice. Secondly, if you have a system up and you have a situation where a tree comes down and hits your solar panels and you have to have your roof replaced, which happened after a customer had his system 5 days. Well, that's what we have homeowners insurance for, right? It was a bummer. They're really, really good people. You're probably talking a couple $1,000s to have it taken off and put back on. We work with the insurance companies because we're working with folks that have had hail damage, stuff like that. The roof had hail damage, but the panels didn't, which is nice to say. Okay? So, how does the solar work with your utility company? Basically, whatever the system generates on your roof first is what your house is going to consume. Then whatever remaining energy that your house is needing, the utility company will provide. So it's not like a special switch or anything like that. It's just it's a very unique, intrinsic way of how this works, but it works in that fashion. Now, what happens if the system is generating energy and you don't have an item running in your household? Where does the energy go? Anybody? it goes back into the grid, okay? That's why they have what is called bidirectional metering. A lot of people hear the term called net metering, okay? We like the term bidirectional because it makes the meters go both ways, okay? If you need the energy, if you have too much solar, it goes back. Traditionally, average cost of utility cost for energy for a residential homeowner is about 12 cents a kilowatt. And when you send in the energy back, you're getting about, I think with Cobb EMC, I think it's about 6 cents a kilowatt. So it's better than what other utility companies are offering, but it's a fair way of doing it, because you don't want to have somebody come in and just oversize your system so you're just generating more than you'll ever need. It's good to make sure that somebody sizes a system accordingly to what you want to do and what it will do. Yes, sir.
On the bidirectional meter, when the utility loses power, you don't want to be sending electricity out there to electrocute the
Correct.
workers. So is it in the meter itself that stops the power from going through?
It's in this.
So you won't get any power in your house at all?
No, when the grid goes down, actually, have you seen this PowerPoint before? Because there's another question that's going to be going right over there. So what happens when the grid goes down? Your system goes down, okay? The solar panels don't store the energy, nor do the inverters, okay? It shuts down. There's an NEC code called anti-islanding, which means that if it does, these do not sense the Hertz cycles from the grid, this system will shut down unless it is connected to an alternative source that has what is called an automatic transfer switch, which would be for a generator or battery backup, and it isolates your house from the grid. So no energy will go out and injure any of your Cobb EMC utility workers. Okay? So, what if the grid goes down? See? All right. All right. Battery backup. So, yes, sir.
Just have one question before on the net metering.
Yes.
When does it take place, your excess? Is it monthly or how does that work?
It's typically done monthly. You'll see a credit on the following month's bill. Yes. Very good question, though. Okay, so when you're dealing with batteries, what happens is that there's two ways, the AC and the DC coupled system, and I won't get too in deep because you could actually spend about 3 hours on this part. But basically, when you introduce batteries into a system, the solar energy is going to go into those batteries first, and then it goes through the inverter and fulfills the house demands. So when the grid shuts down, the battery and the charge controllers and the inverters kick in. Now systems are being done to where you'll see a Sonnen battery like we have sitting out there, and you have AC coming down from the roof. It is now called an AC coupled system. So it's going through a conversion twice before it comes into your house. But the benefit of it is that we're using a lithium ion. It doesn't take up as much space, and you can use only half the battery that you would need, where if you went to the old traditional batteries, you're using a battery system that's, twice the size of one of these tables. Now you're using a system about the size of a washer and dryer. So here's an example of a house with a battery backup system. You don't want to put your whole house on batteries, because if you want somebody to give you a price of one, you better be sitting down. Okay? The best solution if you want a backup system is to have what is called a critical load, which is on a 50 amp panel, and you put the necessities: a microwave, your refrigerator, some lights in your kitchen, ceiling fans, items like that, plugs to keep your computers and your cell phones going, and you're good to go. And it is scalable too. So we're doing one house where we're going to put a system like this, and in 2 or 3 years we're going to put another battery system right up next to it. So we'll do the pre-wiring so he can be off grid. Yes.
I apologize for asking this question, but since you're on energy storage, it sounds like you're discouraging the implementation or usage of what's like a power wall or the equivalent.
The Powerwall?
Tesla.
Tesla? I won't discourage it.
Is that what that? It sounds like you're discouraging against something.
Oh no. We're doing lithium-ion installs, lithium-ion battery installs. I can tell you some facts and information about Tesla, though, in comparison, though, in just a few minutes. Yes?
Could you quickly repeat that question?
Okay, his question was, yes?
The easiest thing to do is if we can wait, and then
Okay.
we can have mics
Yeah, okay.
Everyone will be able to hear, I don't want to defer this, but I have to. So
Okay.
if you can do that, great.
Okay, here's an example of a house that wanted to go off-grid. It's 12,000 pounds of batteries, where we had to pour concrete and reinforce the area underneath, and you have 6 charge controllers and 115 solar panels. It wasn't your average size house either, but it always gets a good laugh, and I kind of chuckle every time too. And this is local. Okay, what are the limits for residential installations for solar? You are regulated by policy in the state and utilities that you cannot have a size no bigger than 10 kilowatts in AC energy at any given time. So if somebody installs a 12 or 12.5 kilowatt system on your house in DC, you should be fine. And there's only going to be maybe an hour or two, not happening a lot, where you're going to probably hit that peak through a whole year of generation, but you'll hit 8 to 7 kilowatts for hours and hours every day. For commercial, anybody here that has a business, you're limited to 100 kilowatts on commercial, or 120 kilowatts in DC size. So, economics and benefits of using solar energy. It does increase your home value, okay? Nothing extravagant. It does increase your home value. It does create marketability and edge over somebody else's house in your neighborhood. It reduces monthly costs over a 30 to 40 year term against potential increased utility costs. It extends the lifespan of your roof. Because solar panels, I mean, we've done enough testing and what have you with projects where it's basically 25 degrees cooler underneath a solar panel on a roof in a hot summer day. So if it's 117, 125 degrees, it's 25 degrees cooler. And there's a lot of situations where we saw it being 110, 112, and it's still 74 degrees. So that definitely works as a radiant barrier for your roof, so it does keep your attic a little bit cooler, but also the shingles on your roof underneath these solar panels, the life is extended because they're not exposed to the elements as hard. Okay? ROI. Who knows what that means? So why do we look at solar panels for ROI over anything else in our house? What's your ROI in your car?
It's a depreciating asset.
What's your ROI in your washer and dryer?
It's depreciating.
What's your ROI in your house?
Appreciating.
Right. Why do we look at ROI for a solar array? Okay. John? Why do we look at ROI for a solar array?
Because you're attempting to amortize the and rationalize it over time against power generation.
You're looking to rationalize the idea of why you're going solar. You got to come up with some legitimate financial reason, and there is a very good model out there. There are many good models out there where this has it is a performing asset on your house for the next 25 to 40 years. Pick one other thing on your house other than it appreciating based on your location that does that. Anybody?
Good neighbors.
Good neighbors. You weren't kidding. So everybody has a different way that they value an ROI. Some people say my ROI was the minute I put solar on the roof because I knew I was offsetting my carbon footprint. Some people says my ROI is I know it increased the value of my home by $15,000 no matter if it was a $10,000 system or if it was a $30,000 system, and I get a 30% tax credit. I'm at break even in 6 months. Some people look at it, okay, look at it from a real accountant standpoint. You're crunching all the numbers as hard as you can get. You're talking 9 to 10 years to when you actually cash in cash, get your money back. Okay? I haven't seen any, that's real numbers. There's a spreadsheet that a lot of people use, and that's what we use. People want to see what ROI, that's what it really should come out to. Okay, policy and politics. And don't want to touch it too much, but there's a reason why I'm going to talk about it. Is that solar has come down 2/3 in the cost of an installation in about an 8-year period. It has gotten a lot of attention and a lot of traction. We've installed, I think we've installed fourfold in the last year of residential installs in the state of Georgia than we have in the previous year. because of that. It's more affordable to a lot of people. There's a company that opened making solar panels in the state of Georgia in 2008, which is what got me started and interested in the business. They filed for bankruptcy because they were bought out by a Chinese manufacturer. And because of them filing for bankruptcy, because they were backed by a Chinese finance company, they want to go after the ITC or tariff money that's sitting in a pot. In order to do that, they want a tariff implemented on any other panels that are being imported right now, which would make the cost of solar energy for you as a homeowner going up 25%. So, we are fighting this right now in the legislation because it's backed by some other folks. So I'm just giving you kind of a little bit of the tempo of what's going on. Right now it's 50-50 that this is going to happen, but right now, so far, nothing's happening. So we'll know probably in about 3 or 4 months if that's going to happen or not. But there's always something going on behind closed doors. So it's really good to understanding how many people here know who their elected official is that they can make a phone call to. Okay? If you want to find out more about this, go to georgiasolar.org, which is the nonprofit website for the state, and you can get more information about it. Okay, the technology. I think you asked me about technology and the efficiency of panels? Okay. There's a lot of technology changing. I think your inverters, they went through a big change a few years back. The efficiency is right there. Now you're seeing buying panels with these already built on them, so I don't think it can get any better. I think where the technology is really changing is that it's going to be changing on the energy storage integrated plug turnkey solution on a home. On it. That's where I see the technology changing. So, one of the other questions that we saw on the website, when is the best time to go solar? That's a hard question to answer. It's based on your financial situation. It's based on, are you buying a new home? Are you looking to build a home? That's a very good time because if you build it in the mortgage, you got a positive cash flow from day one before you even claim any of the tax credits. It's come down in cost so much to be that effective. Some people are going to be living in their home for 10, 15 years. They want it for potential resale value. Some people are going to put it on their house and sell it in a year because they want to have it help have a marketing advantage. Some people feel they want to have it on their home because they like it. They think it's cool. So you get all different types of perceptions. 5 minutes. Okay, got it. So I'm going to give you an example of what a cost of a system is on a national average, okay? This is just an example. It's not written in stone, okay? All right? The national average of a 7 kilowatt system, we chose that because that's also the average size of an installation on a home, okay? So an average cost is about $21,000 for a system. You got a 30% tax credit right off the top of that. So you have a balance of about $15,000, okay? No, I'm sorry. Bad math, $14,000, all right? So you can look at your ROI based on the $14,000 and how much money you save over the course of a period of probably 9 to 10 years to get your ROI. You could also look at, it also does a national average through the Real Estate Appraisers Association that improves the value of a home regardless of the cost of the home by about $15,000, okay?
Question.
Yes?
So what size of a house would this system be set on, like square footage wise? Just give me an idea.
Well, that's a perfectly legitimate and very good question, but we can't do an analysis based on the size of the house because it's based on what the house consumes regarding the energy. You can put two 2,500 square foot homes side by side, a couple, and then you have a family of 4. Family of 4 uses twice the amount of energy. So I get that question. We get that question asked a lot, and I wish there was a direct way to really drill down. It's based on what they consume a year for energy. So.
How many panels are in a 7K system?
24.
Yeah, depends on
But depending on the wattage of the panel, about 24 solar panels, and those solar panels right there take up about 18.5 square feet. Right there, and they weigh about 45 pounds. Yes. I know I'm not supposed to be answering questions. I know I'm getting cursed.
7 kilowatts, let me understand, does that mean I can save 7 kilowatt a day?
You'd save about 26 to 30 kilowatt hours a day. Okay? So I'm going to get to questions in just a minute. Just bear with me, okay? Because I'm going to get in big trouble. So to recap, your guidelines, okay? We recommend a NABCEP Solar professional installer, certified electrician who is familiar with NEC Code 690. That has to do with solar, okay? Permitting, check for references, and look at the quality of their work. Go see if they're doing an installation. Go watch them. Go watch them, okay? Your due diligence to get started, okay? Just to recap. Get the previous 12 months of your utility bill. Not just 1 month, get 12 months. I know it's a little extra work, but it's going to be worth it. This is not like buying a car where in 3 or 4 years you don't like it, you get rid of it. It's stuck on your roof for 25 to 30 years, guys. It's going to be a long relationship, believe me. Okay? What is the condition or the age of your roof? Have a roofer look at it or talk to a solar contractor, and if they don't know, or if you're not sure if they know what they're talking about, get another opinion. Okay? And find out what your utility Cobb EMC Solar program is like, which, by the way, it's very good. Very, very good process. Okay? And the condition of your existing electrical system. Boy, this is the one that snake bites everybody. So it's always good to have, just if you're not sure, when a solar consultant comes by your home to look at it, make sure they look at it, because they will take pictures, and if they need to, have an electrician come out. Because we've seen systems where it's got the screwed-in fuses, and the whole house would have had to be redone. And that wouldn't have been fun. Okay, ways to pay for it. Cash, sure. You can build it in the mortgage of your home, or if you refinance it, all right? Equity line of credit, and some of the solar installation companies have finance companies that partner with them and will offer 20-year financing on just the solar alone and not put the lien on the house. Okay? So, okay, this is what Cobb EMC can provide you with when you get solar. So you can see how your system is operating along with the monitoring that you get when you own a system. So you can see what your differences are from the year previous. So this way you can also keep the solar company in check of whoever has sold you the system. So resources, Cobb EMC, NREL, National Renewable Energy Laboratories Association, because you can go on that site and you can actually plug in the type of system you have, the degrees, the slope of your roof, your geographic location, and you can find out what the system would generate on an average on a monthly basis. Very good resource. So this way when somebody brings you a proposal, you can match it and get a good comparison. Okay? Had to run through it kind of quick. So do we have a few minutes to answer some questions or no?
We get to look for our panel discussion.
Yeah.
That's right up next.
We're 15 minutes away from that, and then I promise we can go to questions.
Okay, so what do you want to do, guys? Am I?
We'll hold the questions if we can. and
Okay.
then we'll have
So you got a panel of experts coming up here. I'm going to use the word expert because I'm not on the panel. And they'll be up here. I believe Mike Barsick from South Face, and we're going to have our gentleman from Cobb County Code Inspections, and we're going to have another gentleman here who's very well versed on solar. So I would say drill in with the questions. I'll sit in the back, but I don't think there's anything that they can answer that I can't. So I think we'll be in good shape. So thank you very much for your time, and it was a pleasure.